Good morning. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Cool. Alright, Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, getting your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. California authorities are trying to find out why a gunman shot and killed 10 people at a dance venue in Monterey Park late Saturday night. Another 10 people were injured. The attack came as people were celebrating the Lunar New Year, and the victims were Asian. After the attack on the first dance hall, the gunman went to a second one, but 2 people there managed to wrestle the gun away from him. One of them was ballroom owner Brandon Say.
I honestly thought he was going to go for the weapon. I thought I was going to have to shoot him. That's when he
that
turned
should make people
around
think,
and
when you're having
walked out the door and jogged back to his van.
Authorities located the suspect in his van the following
dances
day.
at the school,
When they approached him, he shot himself to death.
or boys
Officials
and girls
say the
dances,
suspect is a
these things can be
72-year-old
targeted.
Asian
It should
man.
just be a dance for
The
everybody
European
at the
Union has
schools.
agreed to impose another round of sanctions on Iranian officials suspected of a role in the brutal crackdown on Iranian protesters. But as NPR's Peter Kenyon reports, the EU will hold off on designating Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization.
For days, Iranian officials have been warning of extreme retaliatory measures if the IRGC was added to the EU terror list. The threats have included pulling out of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and expelling nuclear inspectors. One lawmaker even suggested closing the Strait of Hormuz could be an option. The EU agreement on a new round of sanctions will target officials linked to human rights abuses and
If it's just for
crackdowns by security
certain group,
forces against
that's
demonstrators. But the EU foreign policy
That's
chief
like your own
says
cult.
the
You go
IRGC
over
can
there
only
to
be
your place
blacklisted
with your cult
after a
and
court
just
in
have
an
your
EU
dance with
country
your
issues a
crew.
ruling declaring it a terror group. Peter Kenyon, NPR News, Istanbul.
Music streaming service Spotify says it's cutting about 6% of its workforce. That's estimated to be about 600 jobs. Spotify's decision comes as other big tech companies such as Microsoft and Amazon are announcing big layoffs too. Google says it is slashing about 12,000 jobs. Stocks open higher this morning as investors wait for corporate earnings reports. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose more than 80 points
aren't they
in early
preaching
trading.
equal rights,
Microsoft
equal
and
rights,
Boeing
equal
are among the
recognition
companies set
that
to
everyone
report their
should
profits
equally
this week. A new survey of business
be at the
economists
same
finds
school
many
dances.
firms are wary about business conditions in the months to come. The survey by the National Association for Business Economics found more firms planning to cut jobs in the next 3 months than add workers. It's the first time the survey's shown that since 2020. More than 1,000 UAW members in Wisconsin and Iowa have approved a new contract with farm equipment maker CNH Industrial. The workers have been on strike for the last 8 months. Japan's Nikkei stock index closed higher today. Most other Asian markets are closed for the Lunar New Year holiday. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow is now up 77. This is NPR. The government of Poland says it's going to ask Germany for authorization to send German-made tanks to Ukraine. The Ukrainian government has been pleading for heavy weapons, but Germany has resisted. Still, a German official said that if Poland wants to send the tanks to Ukraine, Germany won't object. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is in South Africa for talks. South Africa has said it is neutral about Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but the South African government has been criticized for planning joint military drills next month with Russian troops. Kate Bartlett reports from Johannesburg.
South African Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Naledi Pandor, defended Pretoria's relationship with Moscow. She said she hoped to see the conflict in Ukraine brought to an end through dialogue and diplomacy. For his part, Lavrov blamed the West for the failure to reach a diplomatic resolution during negotiations last March.
Nazis rise to power again.
It is well known,
That's
it
what
was
you're doing.
published openly that our American and British and some European colleagues told Ukraine that it is too early to deal.
Lavrov denied Russia's targeting civilians. He thanked South Africa for its support as the nations prepare for joint naval exercises next month. For NPR News, I'm Kate Bartlett in Johannesburg.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is in Zambia, the latest stop on her visit to Africa. She says Zambia must restructure its debt and said China is a barrier to reaching a resolution. Yellen goes next to South Africa. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News.
It's all
On the
money
podcast,
driven.
Rough Translation.
Amazon.
A young doctor.
Skip.
In NASA news, the agency will honor members of the NASA family who lost their lives while furthering the cause of exploration and discovery, including the crews of Apollo 1 and Space Shuttle's Challenger and Columbia, leading up to and during the agency's annual Day of Remembrance Thursday, January 26th. This year's NASA Day of Remembrance precedes the 20th Anniversary. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson, Deputy Administrator Pam Melroy, Bhavya Lal, Associate Administrator for Technology, Policy and Strategy, as well as other agency speakers, will participate in the 2023 American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, AIAA, SciTech Forum from Monday, January 23rd to Friday, January 27th in National Harbor, Maryland. A pair of news conferences on Wednesday, January 25th, at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston will highlight the agency's SpaceX Crew 6 mission to the International Space Station in February. The mission is NASA's 6th crew rotation flight involving a U.S. commercial spacecraft carrying crew for a science expedition aboard the microgravity Labrador.
Okay.
NASA announced Wednesday it has issued an award to the Boeing Company for the agency's Sustainable Flight Demonstrator project, which seeks to inform a potential new generation of green single-aisle airliners. In weather. Right now in Seattle, it's 37 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Throughout the day you can expect more of the same, with a high of 44 degrees and a low of 39 degrees.
Amazon.
From net
Off. Alright, Amazon. Tell us a joke. Good health, everybody. Apparently there's no joke. Alright. Have a great day. Peace, love, prosperity.